When was the last time you have received a birthday message, whether it's over WhatsApp or over a birthday card? And it was saying something like, wishing you a wonderful birthday filled with joy, happiness, and success. Very polite, right? Very grammatically correct. There is technically nothing wrong about that birthday message. But you can immediately tell that the person actually copied and pasted that message. It could have sent to you by your colleague, by your neighbor, or someone you have met at a network event. Now, compare that message with someone you already know you are close to. And it could sound like, Happy birthday. I still remember you sitting in my car for 2 hours and we were talking, and neither one of us wanted to go home. We actually celebrated your birthday with a cake. I hope this year brings more of those moments where you forget to check the time. That message feels so much more different, right? Why? Because it has a person inside of it. It has a memory, it has an experience, it has a point of view. It could have only be written for you, not a general message. And this is exactly what is happening with your messaging right now. So, you, as a woman of color coach, industry expert, you are using ChatGPT to make your content sound professional. But in the process, you are removing the very most important thing that will actually sign the high ticket clients, that will actually make your people remember you, which is your voice, which is your lived experience, your cultural perspective, your opinion, your stories, and the way you wear clothes to the problem and how you're explaining the problem and solving that. So, ChatGPT and AI can make your content sound correct, but it has no memorable connection to why you are the best solving that problem. So, today I want to share with you in this video the three messaging mistakes you can do as a woman of color coach, and why or how to use AI without allowing it to erase your own message. So this video is for you if you're a woman of color coach or an industry expert and you want to sign consistent high ticket clients using social media. You want to increase your revenue by 50% with your content. I love AI. Okay, this conversation is not about if you should or should not use AI. I love AI. I use AI. I think ChatGPT is a great tool. Claude is a great tool. It can actually help to organize your thoughts. It can help you to create structure. It can help you to turn one idea into multiple pieces of content. It can help you to edit and simplify your business, right? But there is a difference between using ChatGPT to support your voice and using ChatGPT to replace your voice. And right now, I see a lot of brilliant coaches doing the second one, right? You have years of experience, you have coached real clients, you have lived the problem that you are solving, right? You have lived through the problem that you now solve for other people. You understand cultural nuances that cannot be found in generic marketing template. But when it's time to create content, right? You are typing to ChatGPT, write me a post about confidence or create 5 hooks about sales, write me a caption about burnout. Then you copy the answers and you paste it into Instagram, you paste it into YouTube, and then you're wondering why the content does not create clients. Okay. The content sounds amazing, but it doesn't sound like you. It doesn't carry your conviction, doesn't actually show what you believe, it doesn't actually communicate why you are different. So when your message sounds like everyone else, right? Your audience has no reason to choose you, to choose your offer, to work with you. So the number one mistake is asking ChatGPT to decide what you should say, right? Asking ChatGPT to create the idea is the number one mistake you can do as a woman of color coach, industry expert. Because you sit down to create content with no clear thought of your own. Then you're asking, what should I post today? That actually creates the major positioning problem in your content right now, because your best messaging should come from proximity to your clients, the proximity you had with the problem. It should come from the conversation you had yesterday with your clients, you had yesterday in your DMs, the objection a lead gave you, the pattern you are noticing on coaching call, the pattern you are noticing on your last 5 sales call, the mistakes your clients are repeating, the beliefs you strongly disagree in this industry, right? And the results you have helped someone to create. The moment in your journey where you know that was the breaking point where it changed my whole life, how I see my problem. And ChatGPT does not sit inside your coaching calls unless you are giving it that information, right? Like ChatGPT doesn't hear the pause before your client said, "I think I'm just scared that nobody will pay you," right? So this is where your best content comes from, and you have to stop making this mistake and ask ChatGPT, "What should I post?" The number one mistake, or the number one thing that is destroying your content right now, is the question, what should I post? You, as an experienced coach, you have so much ideas living inside your brain. Are you giving your brain the space to come up with the idea, to come up with the best content to create clients, and not asking for AI to invent a generic topic? Your lived proximity to the problem is your competitive advantage. Write this down. Your lived proximity to the problem is your competitive advantage. That is your positioning. As a woman of color coach, you may also notice things that other coaches are missing. You may understand why your clients cannot lose 20 pounds. You may understand in a different way why charging more feels like abandoning your community. You may understand why just be confident is not a useful advice to someone who was taught to be humble, quiet, and grateful for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Those insights should actually lead the content you are creating. Those insights is actually what is making your messaging stand out in the crowded market. AI should help you to shape that idea, but it should not manufacture your beliefs. Okay, again, your lived proximity to the problem is your competitive advantage. So stop asking ChatGPT what should I tell my audience today, and start actually asking the question, what do I already know that my audience needs to hear? So your responsibility in this AI era is to bring the insight that is already living in your brain, right? And ChatGPT can again help you to package it, but it should not actually create the idea. Okay, so here are some questions you can actually journal about before you open ChatGPT. What happened, right? What did the client say in the last week? What pattern did you notice with your clients? What do you believe about? Right? What does your audience needs to understand? What is the next belief you need to implement in their mind before they go through the buyer's journey? Then use AI to organize all these thoughts. That will create content that will actually create the magnetic messaging you need in order to create more buyers with your content. Because the content you are creating now has a human point of view. The second mistake, okay? That was the first mistake. Hope you are ready for the second mistake. The second mistake is allowing ChatGPT or any kind of AI tool to make your content so polished that it no longer sounds like you. Okay? It's literally like you are washing your whole personality away from your content. You give it a rough idea and it returns something very clean, very generic, very structured, and very professional, because deep down you believe only when you sound professional in your content and messaging, people will see that you are an expert. So actually, the whole issue that you have is that you don't believe that you are an expert yet, even though you have worked with clients, even though you got them the results, but deep down you have this identity issue that you don't believe that you are an expert yet. That's why you believe you must sound better and you must sound smarter. But smarter does not mean it will actually convert. Sometimes the sentence that you actually has the personality from you is the reason why people are choosing you, right? Because ChatGPT will actually make your content sound professional and nobody will remember it, because your original sentence, the original way you are saying things, carries your personality. It has the rhythm, it has your conviction, your energy. It sounds like you, it sounds like a real person. Again, it goes back to like your lived experience, and the close proximity you had to the problem is the reason why people are paying you big money to work with you. Everyone can ChatGPT the solution to the problem. Why do they still not get the result? Why do they actually need support and coaching? And this is especially for important for women of color coaches who have spent years trying to sound acceptable, trying to sound like everyone else, because it looked like only when we sound like somebody else, we're gonna actually succeed. So many of us already edit ourselves before AI enters the conversation. We question our accent. I remember when I started doing coaching in English, I was so worried about my accent. We question our grammar. I was seeing in the beginning in chat in Facebook group, someone actually said, "I will never hire a coach who's doing grammar mistakes." That whole conversation that was not even tailored to me, but me reading in a Facebook group already made my confidence go down. We question whether we sound educated enough. We question whether we are too direct or if our stories are even relevant in the industry. We question so many things, like we need to sound more like a successful coach that we follow. And because you have all those things that you are now questioning, you are questioning yourself. You question your whole identity right now. Then ChatGPT, because you are not having a strong foundation in your voice, gives you a polished version where we think, oh my God, this sounds so incredible. I sound so credible. But sometimes what you call polish is actually this connection between you and the clients you are creating with your messaging. Because your audience does not need you to sound like a textbook. They need to recognize you. They need to feel your conviction and your energy. They need to hear the phrases you naturally use. They need to understand how you are seeing your world right now. And your voice is not the grammar. I'm telling you, after years of being in this industry, doing grammar mistakes and having accent will actually attract the aligned buyers to you. Don't be afraid to be you, to be authentically you, because your voice is what you are noticing. It's not the grammar, it's not the accent. What do you notice? What are you challenging? What do you repeat? What do you refuse to believe? The stories you tell yourself, the examples you have created, and the way you make complicated ideas simple. That is your voice. That is your point of view. That is your lived experience. That is the close proximity you had to the problem that you are solving now. Is that actually being represented in your content right now? Is that how ChatGPT or any AI tool is actually supporting your message? Or do you see yourself right now how you are losing your voice using AI? Or not even AI is the problem, how you are using yourself by comparing to other people, to the people you are following. Because again, your personal brand comes with you creating content that is recognizable. And polished content is not recognizable. Nobody will remember that. So do not use ChatGPT to make yourself sound more impressive. It comes from accepting who you are and already knowing that you are impressive enough. Use it to make your own thinking clearer. And the major difference is that you don't need to sound like AI. AI needs to learn to support the way you are already communicating. Do you see the difference? AI needs to support it. It needs to learn from you. It cannot learn if you are not a leading example. If you expect ChatGPT to sound like you, even though you don't have a leading example that you can actually give to AI to support you. Keep your humor, keep your cultural references, keep your blunt statement, keep your imperfect phrases, keep the sentence that sounds like you, even if it has grammar mistakes. Keep it because we want to make you you in this industry. And we want to help you to sign clients aligned, amazing, dream buyers who are choosing you because of you. That was mistake number two. Let's go to mistake number three, which is like creating content that contains information, right? Giving a lot of information, but no conviction behind it. So ChatGPT is very good when it comes to creating safe, helpful, and like content that has a lot of information in it, right? 3 tips, 5 steps, a list of benefits, right? But that's not messaging. A strong messaging requires more than information. Please write it down. A strong messaging requires more than the information that you are giving to them. It really requires the point of view you have. It requires your lived experience. It requires your strong opinions. It requires you to say, this is what I believe and actually stand behind it. Or this is what the industry gets wrong and like really stand behind it. The standards you hold as a coach, what you are not accepting from clients. That can, especially for women of color, feel uncomfortable because having an opinion means someone will disagree. I'm already telling you, someone will disagree. Taking a stand means that someone may misunderstand you. So being visible comes with that people gonna judge you. How are you dealing with that? You cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid other people misunderstanding you. If you're creating a messaging where no one will misunderstand you, that actually means you're not being visible. That actually means your messaging is whitewashing your voice. Simple. Because being visible really means people gonna judge you. And you know that and you calculate that. So instead of saying what we really believe, you are hiding behind educational content. You're asking ChatGPT to create something helpful. Yeah, that content is useful. It is kind. You will get a lot of saves. It may go viral because it is designed for broader audience, but it does not move anyone. It does not move anyone through the buyer's journey to get them, to help them to get the transformation. Right? Your audience are reading the content, they are consuming your content, and they are thinking, yeah, it totally makes sense. Let me save that. But then they continue scrolling. How many saved posts do you have right now that you are not re-watching, rereading again? In the moment, it was like, yeah, it makes totally sense, but that's it. Did it help you to move? Did it help you to get the transformation? What was the first place that you even saved that one post? So, magnetic content, magnetic messaging often creates stronger reaction. It may not actually, you may not get public responses to it, but you will get private messaging from your ideal clients telling you, I have been doing this. I never thought about it like this. You described why I am stuck. I need to change something. That reaction from your audience only comes from helping them to see what they are doing wrong and from your conviction, from your opinion and point of view. It does not come from generic information that you are giving inside your content right now. So, generic AI content helps you to give more educational content, but your point of view really helps you to represent your voice. It creates recognition. It diagnoses the problem while selling your content, right? It gives your audience the language for something they have been experiencing right now, but your close proximity to the problem you already had. And this is what will make someone to trust you. Not more content, not more content that is whitewashing your voice right now, but a messaging that will create recognition because you are standing behind your voice. Again, your audience, they don't need more information. They need the interpretation, your interpretation of the information, so that they know what you believe in and they can see, is our values actually matching? Am I in the client, in the buyer's journey? How do I want to move forward? So your job with your content and messaging is not to be the most agreeable coach on the internet. If you are agreeable right now, that is why your content is not making a lot of more money. Your job is to become recognizable for a very specific way of thinking. So, again, take your journal out and ask yourself these questions. What do I believe that my industry gets wrong all the time? What advice do I no longer agree with? What pattern do I see repeatedly in my clients? What is the truth my audience are avoiding that will get them the transformation? What philosophy and what values do I want my brand to be known for? For example, in my brand, in our company, one of the biggest beliefs we have is that your business should get lighter as your revenue gets bigger. It's not just the content topic. Do you see that? It is a philosophy. It is what we stand behind it. It is it is what I stand behind it. It shapes how I teach everything inside my offers. How I teach about offer creation, what I teach about creating magnetic messaging, how I actually teach about sales and delivering and scaling your company. And this is what is important when it comes to your messaging. Not simply like believing you have to create more posts, but really creating a body of work that repeatedly communicates what you stand for every single day. So when your content is continued to generate without your voice, without your point of view, a lot of a lot of things will happen. Let me actually showcase you that. People may like it, but they do not remember who said it, right? They may find it very helpful, but they don't see why they should hire you, why they should change, why they should get the transformation with you. They agree with every single post, but they don't understand what makes your approach different because your content blends in. Your opinion is not really an opinion of yours, which is why you are like everyone else, right? So your problem is currently not visibility. Your problem right now is that your personality is missing in your messaging. Your perspective is missing. Your lived experience is missing. Your conviction is missing. And without those things, your content cannot build the depth of trust required for you to sell your high ticket coaching consistently. I'm not talking if you are selling a $100 digital product. I'm really talking to you if you are selling a $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 one-on-one coaching, group coaching, mastermind, events. Again, without your personality perspective, your lived experience, right? The close proximity you had to the problem, your content cannot build the trust, the depth of trust that is required for someone to pay your premium prices. Again, this video was about showcasing you how to use ChatGPT without losing your voice. Okay. And you have to start with owning your voice first before you can teach it to somebody else. Right? I want more women of color coaches to understand how important this is. Your voice is not a small part of your brand, it is your brand. Your voice is your brand. This is the whole message of this one video. Your voice is not a small part of your brand, it is literally the brand. There are people who need to hear business, health, leadership, relationship through your perspective, through your lens, right? They may have heard the information before from somebody else, but they have not heard it from someone whose experience makes them feel understood because you were in their shoes before. You don't need to remove your identity to become credible. You don't need to sound like everyone else or those who are already successful to be taken seriously. You don't need a perfect English. You don't need a neutral accent or corporate language to become a thought leader. Your audience is literally not looking for the most grammatically perfect coach. They are not. They are looking for someone who can articulate what they are experiencing better than they can actually articulate it right now. And ChatGPT alone cannot do that. It requires your proximity, it requires your listening, your stories, your beliefs, and your courage and conviction. Those are the three mistakes you have to avoid moving forward. Because I'm not saying that AI will be gone. Actually, you should use AI to support your business, but don't get it mistaken by using only AI to replace your voice. Use AI. It will save you a lot of time. It will organize your brilliance. It can turn your one video, like one live video, into multiple pieces of content. But do not hand it the responsibility of deciding what your voice should be like. It is already in here. You need to unpack it. You need to start communicating it over and over and over again. ChatGPT can hold the microphone, but it should never become your voice because then it's not your voice anymore, it's everyone's voice. Okay? The goal is not to create more content that sounds good. It is to create a messaging that sounds so specifically like you that your audience thinks by seeing one post, yeah, okay, this is Anu. Yeah, okay, this is Meghana. Like this is what makes you memorable. This is what strengthens your positioning. And this is what builds the trust needed in order to close high ticket clients. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions about messaging, using AI in the right way so that you can actually start using your voice in your content and sign more clients in your offers. See you in the next video.